Welcome back. Great to have you join us. So 1/3 of our carbon footprint comes from the products that we purchase. So it is important to understand how sustainable they are. An important part of this is the clothing we buy. So today we're talking about sustainable wardrobes with Kathy, the founder of Third Law. Let's start. Just tell us a little bit about your background and eventually how you got into sustainability.
Sure. I have quite an eclectic background, actually. So I started out in the music industry, which,
Oh, wow.
it was completely different, obviously. And I worked at 2 record labels. I worked with artists like Jay-Z and Radiohead and Coldplay, and then
Oh my
whole
goodness.
slew of other people. Yeah, it's very mixed group of artists. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah, no one you've heard of. But a lot of fun. I stayed there for like 3 years, and then I moved into TV. And I went to MTV for about 4 years and worked in consumer marketing there, brand marketing. I worked on the Video Music Awards and Laguna Beach and the Hills, which I hear now there's like a comeback show.
Oh my gosh.
And then from there I went to the History Channel, which is kind of a different flavor, but still TV. Worked at NBC for a little bit, just a short stint, and then I ended up at Google. So I, had this career in media and entertainment, consumer marketing, brand marketing, and then ended up at Google where I was in sales, which, may seem like a different path, but it actually, meshed really well with my marketing background and the work I had done in TV. So at Google, I was in the lifestyle fashion vertical, and that's where I started thinking about our purchases and the power of our purchases. And it made me think about how can I leverage this tool to really help people have an impact. And so that's where like this seed was planted, and I started thinking about conscious consumption. And it led me down the path towards sustainable fashion. So it's all been about understanding people's behavior and how to sort of move them to get them to do what you want them to do, which is a great thing when you're, now focused on sustainability and impact, environmental and social impact.
Yes, you're using your resources and your platform and your experience for good. That's amazing.
Yes.
So what exactly does your company, Third Law, do to accomplish that?
So Third Law is a sustainable fashion and lifestyle business, and we do strategy and coaching. So essentially we help people use their wardrobe as a tool for expression and for influence. So what that means is we help them create a lean and sustainable wardrobe that's powerful and that you'll love to wear. And the two things go hand in hand, which is amazing, because the pain point that we're solving is if you ask most people, their wardrobe they're not happy with it. It's a mess.
True.
They have too many clothes, excess, things that don't fit. They only wear, a small portion of their wardrobe. There's a million reasons, but it's something that actually does keep people up at night. And so we are focused on that because it's really all about shifting the mindset before you go out to shop. And that's where you have the most power. So, when you look at sustainability, sometimes, at least for me, I was focused on the shopping in the beginning. What products can I buy to be most sustainable?
Sure.
How can I sort of filter products for people and brands that are most sustainable? But then when I really dug into it and started to learn more about the space, it's more about understanding what you have, valuing what you have, and being thoughtful, reducing overproduction and overconsumption, and then, valuing the things you bring in and out of your wardrobe. So you have fewer and better things, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not as much as you'd think it is about the products you're buying, though of course that's important, but
Yes.
It's about how you're shopping.
Yeah. It's about, I used to work at Google, and we'd say the think before the ink, which is, before you put something down on paper, it's all about how you're thinking about it and the strategy, and that's the majority of the work. And the same thing applies to the wardrobe, where the majority is, or just to being sustainable in general, the majority happens before you even go out to shop, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the planning, the being prepared.
Yeah.
Can I ask why your company is called Third Law?
Sure. It is inspired by Newton's third law, which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So it's this idea that we're all affecting each other.
Beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that. So why do you believe that the wardrobe is a key to sustainability?
I believe that we all hold so much power in our wardrobe, and I'll give you an example. So there's a stat out there that if you can extend the life of a garment for just 9 months, you'll reduce your environmental impact by 20%. So if you can make something last even longer, if you can take an item that maybe you're sick of or you were going to throw out or whatever you donate, and you make that into something new or, somehow refashion it or just learn to love it again.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful tool. And there's a whole bunch of other tools too. So we have an incredible amount of power just inside our own wardrobe.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to hear that you can just revive something in your wardrobe and make an environmental impact.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I also, one more thing, I think I call it the lazy man's impact because if you do nothing, you're impactful. So just do nothing. Don't go out and shop.
It's great news for me. I'm wearing clothes that I've had since high school.
Incredibly sustainable.
That is good to know.
Yes.
Okay, great. So my friends that pick on me, now you know. It's good for the environment.
Yeah.
So since you've been working in this field, have you noticed a rise in the awareness of or the commitment to a sustainable wardrobe, or are you finding you're in a sort of niche?
I have noticed an incredible community, and I've noticed a lot of interest. You'll see it, on social media. I think there's a lot of community that happens, and then also in real life too. There's pockets of things happening here and there, but then you're also seeing it just in the mainstream. So every day, I have alerts set, then I see something in Vogue that a musician started a sustainable fashion line, or I'll see, a different brand like Zara just announced some sustainability goals that they have.
Yeah.
And, people say, is it greenwashing? Maybe some of it is. It's hard to actually judge, but in my opinion, all progress is good progress. Yeah. And we have to encourage them to meet those goals and keep pushing forward. And then also educate consumers because it's not going to happen without us.
Of course.
Yeah.
We even saw, I have here, a travel bag from Prada that is made 100% from recycled ocean trash. So that's another example of that I think you're right. Any progress is good progress, right?
It is. And I'd recommend as a consumer to always dig more and ask more questions with things like recycled ocean trash.
Sure.
You want to make sure that, when it's being created, are we actually using more plastic to create that, and are there more toxic fumes or whatever's happening in the process? You have to weigh the options sometimes. So it's not like black and white, unfortunately.
Yes, you have to be a smart consumer, like with anything, because there's all sorts of marketing tools and things like that.
Yes.
Naturally.
And that's why, we at Third Law, we look at how to hone in on your personal style and your signature style so that you can use it as a filter for your wardrobe. So then you're not just kind of haphazard, shopping. You actually understand who you are inward and outward. And then you can match that to what you're bringing in and out of your wardrobe. So it's more thoughtful. You place more value on those items.
Yeah.
And it actually is very sustainable. So even if you were purchasing something that may have not been sustainably made, but it's something you love and you're going to wear it forever, and it's high quality. It stays in this circular economy for a long time. That also is a way of being sustainable.
Yeah.
So again, it's not black and white always.
What is a top tip that you'd give to someone who's looking to have a more conscious wardrobe? I know you've given a few, but something that you think is a really key tip.
Top tip would be to go back to your own wardrobe. That's the first step if you want to be sustainable. Go back to your own wardrobe. Essentially refrain, go back to your own wardrobe and shop your closet. So make things new again, repair things, get things tailored. There's a lot of talk about upcycling now, and there's people who specialize in it. So even if you're not creative yourself, you can take something and, put an embellishment on it in some way, make it really fun. Yeah. If you're not into that, that's okay too. But start with what you have and really look at it and say, how can I make this new? Can I take something that I used to wear to the office and maybe, tie it in a knot and it's a crop top? There's a lot of things. So that's the first key.
So how would you personally rate the fashion industry's progress today? I know you've said that you've seen an amazing community, but all in all, the fashion industry as a whole, how do you feel about their progress?
I think there's progress being made, but it depends on what you measure it against. If you look at the UN sustainability goals, I think we were behind where we were supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot more that we can be doing. Mm-hmm. It depends on what stats you look at, right? But overall, I think there's more work to be done. I do think we should pat ourselves on the back and be really proud of the things that are happening. And, I'm on the ground, so I see all these things. But then you talk to people who have no idea about sustainable fashion. So the light bulb hasn't quite gone off for everyone.
What is the process like for somebody that gets linked up with Third Law? How does that experience unfold?
So right now it is one-on-one client services and group workshops. Mm-hmm. And soon, fingers crossed, we'll be doing more of an online course so that our services can reach more people and more people can be impacted. So that should happen in the next few months.
Awesome. I'll be looking out for that. Congrats. That's really awesome.
Really excited.
What about any favorite brands that you can recommend for people to look out for? Do you have any personal faves?
One of the brands that is talked about a lot lately is called 4 Days. And their model is really interesting because it's what is called closed loop. So you buy a T-shirt and you pay, I forget the exact price, but let's say $35, organic cotton T-shirt, recycled. You use that, wear it to your heart's content, and then you send it back to the company. They take it and recycle it.
Wow.
And then you can get a new one for $8, and it's a lifetime membership.
Wow.
So they're starting with, I think it's like T-shirts, tanks, sweats, things like that. And I'm sure they'll expand. I don't know. I shouldn't speak for them, but hopefully they will.
Sure, but yeah.
But it's a great model, and we'll see more and more of that where companies start to take back the clothing and recycle it. So I mentioned before circular economy. This is all part of that. So you think about when, the design, you think about the beginning of its life, but you also think about the end of its life. So that it will, biodegrade, be recycled, and not just have this linear use it and throw it out kind of mindset. Yeah, so we're shifting away from that.
Wow, that's really revolutionizing the fashion industry. It's almost like with anything when it comes to sustainability where you think, how have we not been doing it this way forever?
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we haven't been thinking about it. We shifted away from this, back in the day. People handmade clothes, really valued each thing that you put on your body.
Yes.
You went to the tailor and had something made. And then we started moving towards, this throwaway society. With everything. Yeah. And now, and it was convenient, right? But it got out of control, and now we're moving back to where we were in many ways, not just in fashion.
Yeah, which is important.
Yeah.
I guess just anything else, any other tips you haven't mentioned, or for people who are just looking to dress themselves both fashionably and sustainably, what would you say to those people? Anything like that?
I think one of the best things we can do is try to understand ourselves and what image we're trying to put out there. And so I would say think about, your why. Think about what your purpose is. Why are you here? What are you trying to do? And that's one of the things that Third Law works on with people is, figuring out their why, and then figure out how you would describe your signature style and try to mesh those two things together and give yourself a vision for what you want to put out there. So when you do that, you're going to value whatever it is that you have in your wardrobe, whatever you bring in.
It's true.
So to me, that's one of the keys to sustainability in fashion.